search for every week, Aman search for every week.
Good morning, you are listening to the Phil and Aman Search For podcast. I'm your host, Phil, and I'm joined by, okay, this is falling off. One sec.
That's fucking jokes. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you wondering what's happening, Phil's mic stand is just falling off onto him right now, so he's just getting that fixed up. But welcome to another episode of Phil and Aman Search For.
Alright, I'm back. So I'm your host, Phil, where I'm joined by my buddy Aman, my co-host. We had some technical difficulties there. We're running smooth. A great start to an episode. Aman, how are you doing?
Pretty good, man. I'm vibing. You know what it is. Those kind of jokes, man.
Yeah, man, God, pissed me off. That's what I'm gonna rant about this week.
Fuck those mic stands.
Yeah. Before we do get into this episode this week, to our listeners, if you're enjoying the podcast, it would really help out if you guys could leave a rating and a review on things like Apple Podcasts. And Podbean and anywhere that you that we host the podcast. Back on to this week's going on. Aman, what's going on with you, buddy?
Not a whole lot. Just hating school again. This is the continuous antagonist of my fucking life. I don't know, man. I hate school for so many reasons. We're not gonna get into it on the pod because it's just gonna make me sad. But other than that, I've been vibing, man. I've been watching a lot of Disney movies with the GF,
Nice,
we watched The Jungle Book the other day. That was pretty sweet.
Oh, the new one?
Yeah, we watched the new one first, and then we watched the old one, after. And, we were just kind of comparing it. And, I definitely like the new one a lot better.
You like the new one a lot better?
Yeah, because, the old one, I definitely, understand the theatrics of it all, but the songs and all that kind of shit are a little bit much. I like how they're incorporated though in the newer version. They still had the King Louis song with the ape dude just going off, and then that was in the original as well, so it was pretty nicely intertwined.
Okay.
But yeah, anyways, I'm going into too much of a review, but yeah, I've been just watching a lot of Disney stuff, just vibing. What about you, man? What have you been saying, dog?
Man, this week, I've got a lot going on. We'll get more into that. But one thing that really pissed me off, it actually happened just yesterday. So my girlfriend and I were out for a nice little late night drive around it was around 9 p.m. I want to say. No, probably not even that late, bro. Probably about maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock ish actually. And we're just driving around. We were downtown actually, and she just picked me up, and we were driving and talking, and I was telling her what we had planned for the podcast today, and some other things, and just having a general chat. And a cop pulls out behind us, and they do their thing. They run our plates, and they're watching us drive and shit like that. I'm like, whatever, man. I'm not speeding. I'm going the speed limit. There's cars in front of me. Whatever. We go through an intersection, and at this point, it had split it into two lanes on our side. And so the cop got in the left lane, and we're going through an intersection, and all of a sudden, they just slide right over, right in front of us. There wasn't a lot of room between, there was enough room, obviously, but, it was, they were driving, one of the big fucking vehicles.
Oh, shit.
So it was tight. So I hit my brakes, and they slammed over us, which is illegal to, switch lanes in an intersection, right? And then so they got in front of us, and then they ran the guy's plates in front of us, and then they pulled him over. And I can understand why they did it, but it's kind of what do you do? Who do you report it to when the cops are break the law? Obviously that's a very minor thing in
that's a good point. Yeah, who do you because if anything, wouldn't they immediately just go to they're just doing their job, and they're whatever.
Yeah, and that would have been their excuse. They're oh, well, we ended up pulling this guy over, and we found, whatever, right? Or he had an expired license.
Meanwhile, they're wilding out on the way to go do it.
Yeah, but it's just the fact, and I know this is very minor because there's obviously a lot bigger violations cops take advantage of, and people, and that's a lot. That's very heavy for this type of podcast, and we can talk about that maybe later. But fucking it's just it was such a minor thing, but it was still it pissed me off enough where it was just what do you do, man? Like, you go to their like supervisor and you'd be like, well, this officer, broke this law or whatever, and if I were to have done that and they would have caught me, they would have given me a ticket.
Yeah.
Do they get any kind of punishment? And it's just like, no, of course not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that definitely just takes me back into like, obviously, weed is legal in Canada now, right? And it just reminds me of stories I know of people, they're pulled over by cops, or they're drunk high school kid walking home from a party or whatever, and then cops like would take their weed with and then they keep it for themselves, right?
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
it's so minor, but it's just like, man, fuck cops.
Yeah.
ACAB, bro. Fucking
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Yeah.
It's an uphill battle with a lot of things like that. Definitely with like traffic violations, because it's just like,
in general, it's just like the fear, because like they give you the 9th degree. Like I've gone through a ride program once before, 2 Thanksgivings ago, I think, which I was meeting my girlfriend's parents for the first time, and I was coming home, and it wasn't even like that late, but like I got stopped through the ride program, and I had those Mexican sodas, like how they have the like beer bottle shape, and they have that like the cap.
yeah, Doritos.
Yeah, they're really good,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I had one of those in my car at the time, and so I had the bottle in the center and the cup holder, and then because I'm not a piece of shit and I don't litter, I kept the top like right next to in my little, what is it, coin thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
My Civic has a little coin space thing, so I just threw it there. And so I got pulled over for the ride, and then he comes up and he's just like, oh, like, are you drinking? And I was like, no, sir, like, type of thing. And then he's like, what's that, right? And like, you immediately gotta like, oh fuck, bro, like, yeah, like it's just like it's a soda. And then he's like, what? And I'm just like, yeah, like, he's like, it's not beer. And I'm like, no, it's like, it's a soda. I was like, Mexican soda is like made with cane sugar. And I like explain this whole thing, and it's just a matter of the fact that it's just like, oh man, it's just like they power trip a little bit over that shit like that, right?
Yeah.
And fuck, I've even had like the one morning I before I ever worked at like Tim Hortons, I worked at like a different coffee shop. And when I was in high school, I was like 17, and I worked at fucking like I went in for like 5:30, 6 o'clock-ish. So there was a church right next to where I was living at the time, and a lot of the cops would sit there. So I pulled out the one morning and I was driving to work, and like a group of like 4 or 5 cars just followed me, and they followed me for like half my trip, which was like 15-minute drive to go to work. And like, dude, I was the most careful, because I drove through 2 school zones, and fucking, and I drove so careful. And then I was just like, man, I really don't want to get like any of my shit pushed in for like the smallest violation and have like 4 fucking cop cars swarm on me. But yeah, we kind of gone on a little rant here. But yeah, man, it's just yeah, man, that fucking cop pissed me off yesterday, and I've been very lucky, obviously, and not getting in a lot of trouble with the cops, due to whatever reason you want to say. But fucking, yeah, man, they're all fucking pieces of shit, and I hate them for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, I definitely do agree. But at the same time, like, there's definitely like moments where like sometimes it's just kind of like, imagine just being a cop and like, I don't know, like a transport truck gets like stuck in a ditch, and you just pull up and you're like, what the fuck do we do? Like, there's got to be moments like that like I think that like people can like find some humor in, and like, I don't know, like cops are like assholes, but they're also people at the end of the day, which like,
I mean, I know that's true, and like obviously like their main duty is to like police and protect the public.
And sometimes they have to do things that like nobody would expect them to do. They're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like I'm sure like 90% of their like jobs are mostly bullshit, but it's the 10% obviously you want them there for.
Yeah.
And obviously like thankful for like when people need them. Like luckily, like I said, like I've never really needed the police, but like people who do, and they're there for that, obviously. But it's those minor infractions that really just kind of like,
it's the small shit. Yeah, no,
and like I get it. Like every job, people do shit they probably shouldn't. Like and if it's them flashing their lights to get through a red light and then immediately turning them off, I mean, like bothers me, because like I can't do the same shit. But like I guess that's the most minor of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of jokes. Like at the end of the day, it's just really funny, and like, to be fair, like if you look at police forces worldwide, like in other countries where they're maybe not as developed as Canada, like the police forces are way more fucked up than they are here. So it's like, it's kind of a give or take thing, you know, like it definitely doesn't have to be as fucked up sometimes as it is, but like it definitely could be way worse, you know.
100%. Yeah, I obviously I realize we're very lucky here in Canada, and like I don't take that for granted at all. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's why I feel like we went on like I went on too big of a rant there, but it's just like little it's not even like I don't even want to just.
It's
like
the small things that I agree that like those are the things that'll keep you up at night. Where it's just like this motherfucker, because like it's usually the consequences of getting that ticket where it's just like your insurance is fucked up for the next couple of years. Like they don't have to deal with that shit. Like you gotta deal with that shit.
Especially as like a young 20s male. Like I'm just about to like in the next few years like I'll hit the where my like rates start lowering or whatever. But from like 16 to like right now I still like pay through the like nose for insurance, and I have nothing on my record either. Like I don't have a single ticket. I like I only have an accident that wasn't my fault, you know what I mean? So it's just like,
oh, is that one at the intersection? I think you told me about that.
Yeah, fuck man, that's a whole other but yeah, so like I have nothing on there, and like this is more I guess on insurance companies, right? Because like they're just like, oh well, statistically, young men buy fucking race cars and put them in ditches and shit like that. But it's just like, man, I think I'm a pretty responsible driver, you know what I mean? And yeah, man, I fuck those rates, man, too.
Yeah, I definitely think like in your case with that one situation is like you got fucked with that shit. Like you did so dirty with that, and like it wasn't like. You know, and like it sucks that you have to pay the consequences of that for like the coming years, because it's like it's definitely not cheap, you know. And like I think that like in our area, especially since we're getting a lot of like younger drivers and like there's a lot more accidents. Like remember like in the summer 2 years ago, you couldn't go like a day without seeing an accident with like just like anything. Like it was just like there's always accidents for some reason in that one summer. And like fuck yeah, man, like people are like driving the insurance rate up as like a mass, so it's just like hard to deal with like individual instances, and then you also have to deal with the mass rate going up, and it's just like so many factors. This is like fuck, you know. Well,
yeah, there's also like I know it's a big meme, especially in Ontario, where like they're like, oh, Brampton and like Toronto and like Mississauga, like people from there can't drive because they're like
they're literally paying like $1,000 for like insurance, some of them, bro. Like if you get into an accident when you're young over there, like you're literally fucked. Like you can't drive. Like
well, we knew a guy who was lived in Orangeville, and he would tell us stories about, he was like, oh yeah, he's like, you know, people I know come down to like our area to do their driver's test and stuff like that, because like, or like get insurance and register their cars and shit, just because like it was so fucked up, like you know, around that area, just because like people were paying premiums and yeah, man, I don't know what's going on there. They're built different, I guess, over
yeah, man, people are crazy over there. Imagine paying insurance in Toronto. That'd be fucked. That'd be crazy,
man. Imagine driving there. Like I've driven there, like, you know, around there, and like for like concerts and like, you know, just for the day and shit like that. But I couldn't imagine driving every day to and from work. That's why I know like obviously like the subway and like Ubers and the GO train and shit like that is really popular there, obviously for like reasons like that. But there are still a bunch of people that drive there. It's just like, you know, New York, it's a lot more popular to take the subway there, just because like it's super fast and like convenient, and like the population's way bigger, obviously. But
most people living within like my aunt, when I was staying with her, she had a really old ass car that she just kept for like long trips. But everything that she had to do within the city, she just took the subway for.
That's so like, smart.
But her car was a piece of shit though, because she never used it, right? So then she never took care of it, and like she had like oh man, I feel so bad for her. She got into like an accident with it, and she just never got it fixed. So like there's like all these like Audis in the parking lot, and like all these like nice like like, you know, these like really really well taken care of cars, and then my aunt's like beat up Honda Civic with a fucking big ass dent in the side of it, and like
yeah, man, no, that's true. Like I've gone to like I said, a few concerts and shit down there, and I like, you know, Rebel, right?
Yeah.
So it's that place is the place to fucking stunt. If you go down there, like you see rich people go down there for concerts and shit like that. Like I've seen fucking R8s, I've seen Lambos, I've seen fucking like Teslas, like when they first were like exclusive to Canada, and like only the super rich were able to get them at first, you know. Now they're a little bit more common, but like man, like I've seen some fucking shit down there, like coming to concerts and going and like picking people up, and I'm just like yeah, like people obviously have money in Toronto, like you know what I mean?
No, for sure.
It's kind of crazy to see, and I'm just like,
some of that shit might be rented though too, you know, just
that
to pull up
true.
and stunt, you know, because like, well, they're like, what's a Lambo cost for a couple hours, you know?
Nah, I mean, you know what I mean? Fuck, I don't know. I'd love to actually like rent like a supercar like that. I know it's a lot of money and like you have to do a lot of background.
You have to know how to drive one too. I wouldn't know how to drive one, TBH. I'd probably fucking go way too.
Fuck up the transmission. Just like, man. Oh shit, I drove in fifth gear the whole time.
Do you ever watch those like street race videos where it's like the verses and it'll be like a Stang versus like a fucking Rari or some shit, and then like
a bunch of those, man.
Fucking like there'll be that one dumbass that somehow manages to flip the car. It's like how the fuck did you do that?
Dude, I saw one where fucking they're going through this intersection and there's speed bumps there, and I guess like the city had put it there because it was like a popular area to like race, and so they just installed it so these people weren't like expecting it to be there. So this one guy had like he had like a lowered Mustang or some shit, and fucking he hit the fucking he hit that at like a high speed and fucking totaled his car, and I'm just like, damn, bro.
Yo, I just saw this video on those YouTube stories things where I don't know if he's like a YouTuber or some shit, but he had like a really nice car, right? And he was driving and he hit a pothole, and I guess the rims and the tires were so thin that like immediately all the tires just like went flat, like from the potholes that he hit. I was just like, dog, what's the point of having a car like that, man? Like, you can't even drive it, man.
Dude, oh man, some of those people get really salty when they lose those videos too, because like at least the one I've seen, or the few that I've seen, it was by the one guy, and I don't know if he had a fucking like Hellcat or something like that. Yeah, he had something similar to that. I'm not I know cars a little bit, but I'm not like super big into them. But I think he had a Hellcat, and fucking he was like racing people that like I guess had like these pimped out cars and like all these mods, and like I skipped it in the beginning because they're like, oh, so this is my engine, and like I've done this mod, and like I'm like, I have no idea what that is. I'm like, I just want to see you guys fucking like give me some fucking Need for Speed, some fucking
action. I feel you. The meat.
Some fucking Fast and the Furious shit, bro. And like, so anyways, like, and then he fucking beat the guy or whatever, and the guy at the end, he was just like, oh, fucking, you did this, like, oh, like I started slower than, and like, and you know, people are just sore losers and they come up with it, and like the guy at the end, he was just like, man, just be proud of your car, like, you know, it is what it is, like. Even if it's not faster than, you know, top cars in the world, he's like, my car isn't faster than blah blah blah, you know what I mean? He's like, a race is supposed to be fun, you know what I mean? He's like, sometimes you get dusted, but he's like, don't try and make excuses, and he's like, you come off as kind of like a dickhead after.
Yeah,
when you get, like,
exactly.
especially like when you get like beat that badly.
Yeah. No, that's true though, because like I would imagine, like I've never been in like a street race because I don't have a car that would go fast enough, but like the thrill of like being in front would be just so fucking like oh, that'd be so sick.
It's gotta be a good high, man.
I definitely see the appeal of it. So like I can't shit on that.
I know there's like a whole subsection of like the racing community too that have like old like 90s Hondas or whatever, and they haul them out by like strip out everything they don't need. They have like they try and make them like as lightweight as possible. And then people like, you know, will race them or whatever, and they're like, and people get really pissed at it because they're like, well, that's not a car, like you don't have any luxuries in it, there's no extra seats, like how do you take friends, like it's just like a fucking, you know,
it's not meant for like
right
that.
And like, and people get really pissed at that, and I think it's kind of funny because I'm just like, well, if your whole goal is to go fast, like you go fast, bro. Like, do you think people are going to people, you know, in the NASCAR, and they'll be like, oh, you only have one seat in there, bro, your car's hollowed out, like it's not a real race. I'm like, I don't know, man, like they're going fast, isn't that what you enjoy? Like
I remember there was this one picture like on the old meme internet of like the inside of this car, and it was like hollowed out. There was like a school desk chair, and then there's just like the wheel. I just picture like that, like that's how they make it aerodynamic.
Bro, I'm so big in Twitter, like I love Twitter, and like I follow a bunch of like meme accounts and shit like that, and there's this one guy, and he's really big, and his name is Josh, but there's like kind of like a joke that he goes by like Hubert and all that. Anyways, he just bought like a new Beamer, and it's like an old school one. I'm not, like I said, I'm not too big in cars. I just know it's older. He got it for a really good price.
That's sick.
He actually ended up crashing his first one that he got. Luckily, I think he got insurance paid him out for it.
Damn.
And he was able to find another one for a good price. But it's going around on like TikTok and like Twitter right now that and even like Instagram. There's been meme pages and shit like reposting the picture because he only has one car seat in there. And all the rest, and then he put a PS5 in the passenger seat.
That's sick.
Or like where the passenger seat would go, and people were posting it where they're just like, oh, like, you know, no girlfriend, like, oh, or like oh, this guy's priorities, like, you know, no passenger seat, but he has a PS5, and like he's definitely leaned into it, and he's a very funny guy. And his whole humor brand is kind of like he's kind of like the Virgin. Like kind of weird kid. He's a really funny guy. But I just find it really funny that like, man, fucking that's been going around, and basically man, fucking I love Twitter so much for stupid shit like that.
I never got into Twitter. I never really like social media. Was never really like. I was always like more into like Tumblr and shit, and like I know that sounds like really
old school Tumblr.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I still go on Tumblr sometimes. But,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Some areas of it, they improved it as of late. There's like a lot of like safety filters on it, so you don't have to see porn every time you go on it.
I think they 100% removed porn, didn't they? Or did they bring it back?
They probably removed it all the way. I never see any when I go on it anymore. But I remember back in the day, like it was like every other post was like somebody getting like fucking boobs rubbed on their forehead, or like,
oh my god, bro,
some weird shit, you know.
See, I was never big into Tumblr at all. I knew other people that were big into Tumblr, and obviously there was like a lot of porn and stuff like that, and you know, people would always talk about like, oh bro, like, you know, fucking I'm scrolling on Tumblr in school and porn popped up, or like whatever.
Yeah, I remember that shit wasn't blocked at school. I definitely remember that.
It took them a while before they kind of blocked some of those sketchier shit. But yeah, like I don't know. I never like personally. I just never like understood the like appeal of Tumblr, just because like it's a lot of like it's like an image, and then it's just like people like writing underneath it, which I know sounds really like stupid and ironic because that's pretty much what Twitter is too. But I don't know. Just the format, I guess, was never like my interest too much.
I remember back in the day that there's only like certain things that weren't blocked at school, and like I remember Tumblr was like one of them especially, and like. Do you remember how to like get like remember how like YouTube was like blocked in like elementary school? Do you remember how to like get on to like
I don't really remember how, but like I knew there was ways that we did it. Yeah.
One of the ways was like doing like m.youtube, so you did like the mobile version because they didn't block that one. You just like and then you just make it like full screen from there.
Oh man, dude, fucking in high school, my final 2 years, I took a lot of computer sciences just because like that's what I was gonna go into post like high school. I did, and I didn't enjoy it. But in high school, we had a lot of like autonomy, and like we were able to do a lot of whatever we wanted. And so I used to always throw Twitch streams on because a lot of my favorite like streamers or whatever were like streaming in the morning. My time, right? And so it was like, you know, fucking 7, 8 a.m. and I'm at school and I'm just watching it in class, and I got it like on like the background while I'm doing my work and listening. And my teacher had like a little messaging service that would like pop up on your computer because like they could always see what you were doing. So sometimes I would tab out from my work and I would just straight watch Twitch for a while, and then he would send me a message. He'd be like, "This isn't work," and then I was like, "My beat," and then I'd go back to work for a minute, and I like switch back to tabs. And I always got my work done, and it was always, you know, pretty good, right? But he hated that I would just watch like that and like YouTube and shit. So eventually he ended up blocking it. But
oh shit,
yeah, because he was like the tech guy for the school. But someone but it's like someone on the internet made like a workaround for people who like had it blocked at work and school and shit. And so I used that for the rest of my last like year to close out high school, and he never blocked it after that. But
that's funny as fuck.
Yeah.
I remember I had a Comtech class that like we had like that was like the workshop for like those computer science classes, and like I never ended up taking those classes, but I always took like the classes where we like screen printing and like doing like all that shit and like just like creating stuff. And like my teacher was like always like super adamant on like you working only when you're in there, or else you would lose your privileges to use the equipment. And so I was like super strict with my shit. I was like, yo, this man is not taking my privileges away, bro. And like, oh man, I remember that shit. Like, I would like find like little like ways to work around it. Like, have my like phone in my pocket and like just have like a headphone in and be like watching a YouTube video or some shit like that. Or like, you know, still worked around it, but yeah, I'd never like fucked around on the school computer. He thought I was like, you know, prime student.
You're a good student, man.
Hell yeah, man. Didn't let him catch me, you know?
For sure. No, actually, I loved Comtech too, because like my final year, we ended up getting a 3D printer, and I love 3D printing, man. That's where it started. So like, it was like a new technology back then. And yeah, we got a grant for, I think it was like $2,000.
Oh shit! So you guys bought a nice one then.
Yeah, so like at the time, our teacher bought the nicest one you could get. I don't know if it still holds up today. It's like, because like I said, it was in its infancy, and like, you know, it might have been like a base model now compared to some of the shit they have. But we ended up using it a lot for our final projects. Like we printed wheels, we made our own Lego pieces. That was really cool. I still have some of that.
It has like such a weird material when you 3D print it though, right? Like that PVC material. It's like
well, you can get resin now too. But it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I've seen some people fucking do like metal ones and shit now. Like the ones that are actually printing like, or like wood based ones and shit, where they're like putting like a wood filler in and shit. Yeah. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, like it's so crazy now to me, and I love it too. Like our library actually has like a 3D printer now. They have two, and I've used that a little bit, and I just love.
Yo, how do you like go use that? You just like.
So, you know the original one downtown?
Yeah.
So it's not that one. It's the new one in the old like City Hall building.
Okay.
Yeah, and they redid it like a couple years ago now. And you go to the very top of the tower. Yeah. You have to take like an elevator up there.
Yeah.
Or you have to walk up like 4 flights of stairs.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go up there. And you like go to the computer and you put in like your STL file, and then like you set it to print.
Do you have to pay to use it?
Yeah.
How much is it?
I think most like regular prints are like under $2, unless you make something like gigantic. Then you're paying like whatever their cost is. It's like 10 cents per like millimeter of like,
that's actually sick.
Whatever resin you use or whatever. Yeah, they have a really good like printing like price.
That's good.
But yeah, like so with COVID, I think you have to make like appointments now. But I used it like pre-COVID. And yeah, I printed a few things off there. I printed like some little miniatures and shit like that. And yeah, man, I just love 3D printing, man. It's so cool. My girlfriend's cousin and uncle actually just recently both got into it.
Oh, really?
And yeah, apparently her uncle's going like nuts with it and kind of like printing like anything and everything.
That's sick.
Yeah, he's retired now. Yeah. He like just retired. So this is like
it's probably like mind-boggling to him.
Yeah,
man. That'd be crazy. Yeah, for sure, man. I remember like I used to have one down here, but then like I ended up selling it to my buddy Gus.
Oh, for real?
Like yeah, he kind of took that over, but because he has like 3 in his basement, so like he like already stacking, right? Like he's got an operation. I didn't really like get into it as hard as I wanted to. Oh, okay. I'm like more into like t-shirt pressing and like just like that kind of shit. So like the next thing I'm trying to get is like a vinyl cutter and like that kind of shit. I don't know if you ever like worked with one of those in like school.
I have not, no.
Oh, it's like that thing that you like make like signs out of and like all that kind of shit.
Oh,
and, like, yeah,
for real?
Just like cut it out and like tweet it and like, yeah. But that's like probably like, I don't know, the one thing that like can keep my attention, because like that stuff's cool to me, but like it's just like, I don't know, like past a certain point I'm like, I don't really want to be, you know, doing this.
No, you know, it's fair. It's not for everyone. Like, like we did a lot of like 3D modeling and stuff too with like CAD and like other programs and stuff. So like I really got into it. Like I thought it was such a cool, and like it's obviously not for anyone. Like it was a lot of work, and like what we were doing is, you know, mostly pretty basic. So like you can get really like detailed.
You can get pretty complex.
But yeah, I don't know, like. It's one thing that like I'm really excited for like the future. Like obviously you're saying like, you know, they got all these new things going on like with wood and shit. I didn't know about wood. I knew about metal. Yeah, I knew metal was on the rise, but fuck man, yeah, I don't know. Like in the future it's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, and, like, I definitely think it'll be a lot more user friendly in the future as well. Cause like like I think that like right now there's like kind of like a learning curve that you have to like go through when you get into it, and like it's kind of like for me it was difficult because like I'm used to like things being pretty like straightforward enough for me to figure it out. But with like 3D printing, you have to like
Yeah.
follow certain steps or else it doesn't work.
For sure.
And then like I'm like kind of, you know. But I think like if it becomes more user friendly, then yeah, that's fucking gonna be dope, man.
100%. And like I think what really is cool to me is like the practicality of it too, and especially like for the potential for like medical shit too.
Yeah.
Because like I've seen like the whole like videos where people have like these 3D printed you know, like for amputees, like these hands and like stuff like that, or like feet, and like it's so cool to me that like people are on the rise to try and make it cheaper for people to, you know, get that back, you know what I mean? And like I think it's so cool too for like the everyday man, like you know, your fucking kitchen drawer, you know, your handle breaks off and you need one in the meantime. You print just like a little knob, you know what I mean? Yeah. You don't have to run out to the store. It's going to take 20 minutes and you got a new fucking 3D printed knob, you know what I mean, for your drawer.
Yeah, perfect size. Exactly what you need.
And like, I don't know. I think it's just like, yeah, like I said, I'm excited for the future and where it can go. And I think there's so much like practical shit that you can do with it in the future. And especially once the technology kind of catches up and, you know, people start like mass producing and stuff like that. Because like obviously... it's like a smaller version of what like toy companies and like, you know, other companies already have, because they have these like giant fucking
die cast
die cast fucking but yeah, it's a lot more like indie, I guess. I don't know if that's the right term for it.
I really like that too, because like you do raise a good point. Like with a lot of things, it's like easy to be independent with like just creating. Like if you want to make like a comic book, you can make one in Photoshop. If you want to make you know, a song, you can make one in a program. If you want to like do all these things, you can do it. But there's never really been something, if you have like a physical idea, that you can just create it like quickly. And like I feel like 3D printing is like definitely creating that lane for that indie like movement with that.
100%. But yeah, like speaking of school though, you know, this is a little bit of a change up here, but fuck, man, I was just thinking about this the other day. I was telling my girlfriend, I've seen like Shrek, Finding Nemo, and like another movie. I can't remember what it is right now. It might have been like Lilo and Stitch or something, but I've seen them in like 3 different languages.
Oh shit.
Because of school. Like, so obviously like English, you know, and then I've seen it French because you know, in Canada we learn French and stuff like that. But I also took German in high school, and one of the ways she would, like, my teacher would try and get us to understand like some of the basic words and all that, was we would watch like movies in like in German. I was about to say French, and I was kind of just thinking about like, I've seen the like, especially for like Finding Nemo and shit like that, I've seen that movie a bunch just like regularly in English, but like, it's not like I've just seen it once in French and once in German. I've seen them both a couple times in like those other languages too.
Really?
And I was just like, I was kind of fascinated by that. So I was just like, it's so common for, especially like French teachers, I think, to show the similar movies, because I think they just share a classroom or like share the same materials. So they'll be like, oh, we're going to watch a movie today because it's a holiday or a half day or like whatever, right?
Oh, yeah, I get what you're saying.
And yeah, they throw on a movie or whatever. And yeah, man, I've just seen those movies in like different languages, and the thing is, I retained like none of it. Like every time I remember trying to watch it, and I'm like, oh, like I know what goes on and I know what they're mostly saying, but I'm just like, it never like translated in my brain because I wasn't fluent enough in the languages.
Do you find that like when you watch anime, you get like pick up on certain words, like if you hear them enough and like you hear them in context? Do you watch like sub or do you watch dub?
Okay, I watch both.
Ooh.
Oh, I know this is controversial. So I mainly I mainly watch sub.
Okay.
Just because like most of the time when I'm watching something, it comes out in Japan first, and then like it won't be like,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
it'll be like a week or two, or like sometimes even like a lot longer. It'll be a couple months before they start airing in like English. If there's already a show that's like come out, like it's old or whatever, I'll just usually watch English, just because like I multitask. Like I'll play video games, or like I'll fucking work on homework.
What's like a show that you would like watch that's like old that you would watch with dub?
Like Gurren Lagann. Like I've watched that. Cowboy Bebop.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, like shit like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just and like those are, I think those might be bad examples because like I know people do kind of like those dubs.
Yeah. I was gonna say like the English translation and like the dub is never as accurate. Well, it's never gonna be completely accurate. But usually like when they're dubbing over, they're just trying to match like what the Japanese that was spoken before, like whatever like length it was like said. They're trying to fit a phrase in so it like matches up with the mouthing, and like sometimes it doesn't even match up. And
like I'm watching Naruto and like I watch that in English.
Oh,
I know that's kind of a disappointment. I'm gonna say it's because the first season's on Netflix. So
yeah, I just started watching the first
series.
season again. Yeah.
So when it comes to like Shippuden,
I don't know.
Shippuden, whatever, however you want to say it. I'm probably gonna watch that in Japanese just because like it's not already available, and like I might as well just watch it at that point. And, but yeah, like I said, I like to multitask, so like I do kind of just like do like both. Depends on what I'm feeling. Like sometimes if I'm like really into an anime or whatnot, and I want to watch the visuals and I want to watch for the story, then I'll make sure to watch it in sub so that way I get like the full experience.
Yeah.
But if I'm just like throwing it on in the background and I'm just like, especially if I know there's a lot of filler, like Naruto has a lot of filler. I'm like, I really don't care for most of this. Like I want to get to the plot. Like if they're having like a beach day episode, which I usually just skip, I'm fucking like, I don't care. So I'll watch that in English where I can just like have it on the background and I get like the general premise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that's like definitely a sin. Like there's purists out there. They're like,
no, I'm definitely one of the like I like watch everything for sure because like I definitely like to consume it the way like it was like printed or whatever or pressed or whatever, or like not like that like term doesn't mean like as in like as the manga was produced, but like as in like how like ever the anime came out. Like I want to like kind of watch it like scene for scene, like the creator like watched it like when he was like outputting it, like, you know. And like I definitely like get this vibe from anime too that like the voice actors are just like so like crazy into like what they're doing that sometimes they just like their vocal performance is just enough to like keep me like captivated 100%. And like they're just like snapping. I'm like, fuck yeah, bro.
Well, your favorite anime is Dragon Ball, right?
Oh well, yeah, one of my favorites. Yeah, Hundo P. Yeah, and like their voice acting from the English one is definitely like different. Like, so have you watched the dub and the sub, or like just the?
I've seen clips. I've never. Okay. It never interested me as a kid. Also, I had a ban on a lot of violent, like not even violent shows, but like I wasn't allowed to watch like Power Rangers as a kid.
What?
Yeah, my mom thought that shit was too violent.
Oh, your mom said no. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like on your TV. I was like, what the fuck?
No. So I wasn't allowed, and like my mom would always kind of like make sure what I was watching was like family friendly. Yeah. So I was never able to, but I did watch a couple episodes of like friends' houses and stuff. Never really like gained my interest. But yeah, like I've seen clips of it like later on in life because like one of my favorite things to do is just like kind of throw on some fights or like best. You know,
do you have a favorite fight or like?
Yeah. Okay. Like I'm big into Hunter x Hunter. Like that's my favorite anime. Like I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And I go and rewatch so many scenes from that.
What's your favorite fight? Like which arc did it happen in? Because I might have seen it.
Fucking Chimera Ant arc.
I don't know if
I don't think you're that far.
I'm in the Chimera Ant arc right now, but like I haven't got that far into it.
Yeah, I don't think.
Who's the fight between though?
I don't want to say, man. It's
mad spoilers.
It's mad spoilers.
Right. It is mad spoilers.
It's mad spoilers, bro.
Do you have what about the other arcs? Because there's some good fights in there, man.
Oh yeah. You finished Greed Island then.
Yeah.
I like when he's fighting Genthru and fucking they come up with a plan. Killer was my favorite, by the way.
Oh, you like Killer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's your favorite from Dragon Ball, real quick?
Dragon Ball.
Or like, okay, what's your favorite anime character
of all time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, from Dragon Ball first, I'm gonna say Goku, just because like Goku was the shit when I was a little boy. I was just like, yo, I'm fucking Goku, bro. Hell yeah, bro. I'd be powering up and shit. Favorite anime character of all time? That's a fucking hard question. I'm gonna say I always say his name wrong apparently, but Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul. I think he's super badass, you know, with his like mask and shit. Like I think that's so fucking sick. He's like half demon and shit. It's fucking
I know a little bit about it.
He be mauling on people, chewing them up.
But yeah, Killua was my favorite. Like, I fucking love that little goofball.
Killua's sick. Yeah.
But
like
yeah,
Killua.
so from Greed Island, fucking, Killua, Bisky, and Gon, they got the whole, we're gonna catch Genthru in fucking this trap or whatever, and like Gon's the bait, and he's hot-headed, so he's fucking, he's just like, I don't, he's like, I'm sorry, I know we got a plan, but fucking, and then he gets his arm fucking blown off, but he beats him, and he's just like, Genthru's just like, when he's like about to die, he's like, holy shit, like this kid's nuts. Like, he's fucking, he does not give a shit about himself, and like, man, like, we'll also talk after you finish fucking, Chimeric, because fuck, man, like, I love it, and like there's so much shit I can go into, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
I'm
like,
honestly, like, I'm still watching it. I'm not actively, because like the first 2 arcs I watched like pretty actively, but this last arc is like I have to watch on Crunchyroll, which is like kind of like, I don't know, it's like I hate watching shit on Crunchyroll, and like fucking, but I'm getting through it. But honestly, like,
it's long too, man. Like, so the first, like, 4 arcs or whatever are like 70 episodes combined, or like something like that, and then the last is like another like 70 or some shit.
They did
like,
it man weird.
It's a long ass arc, and like there's so much story, and like people get mad because they're like, oh, this episode was a filler, but like in the overall plot, it's kind of important, because you have to, like, I don't know if it's too much of a spoiler, but like the last like arc takes place over like so many minutes, like in the final little bit, and it like there's so many like episodes that take place, and it's just like, this is what happens within 30 seconds of like this.
I get what you're saying.
Whatever, you know what I mean? And like, and of course they draw it out into like a 20-minute episode, because like, the fucking whatever, and you're like, they did this in 30 seconds, but like it makes more sense once you kind of view it out, like everything happens for a reason, and that's really why I like that arc. But I don't know. Yeah, man, fuck. I didn't really start appreciating anime and like manga until like the last, I want to say like 5 years or something like that. Like, I was never really like into it. Like, I watched like Digimon and like Pokemon and shit as a kid, and like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah,
because like that was the shit to be into as a kid.
Bakugan and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I
didn't like it as much, but like I'm still
trying to remember if I ever watched it, or if I just had like the little fucking.
Do you remember Battle Beat-em-on? The little, they shot marbles.
Oh,
they had like these little figures, and they shot.
Yo, you just took me back, bro. I totally remember that shit.
I used to love that shit, and like I remember there was like an end of the world fucking plot. So they go like in the beginning, like, I guess that's kind of like a common theme with anime, especially like shonen and like kid shows or whatever. Like Yu-Gi-Oh started as just like kids playing cards, and it's just like, oh shit, by the way, here's Egyptian gods, and the world's gonna end. But yeah, this Battle Beat 'em on, fucking, they had these little marble shooters, and then it was just like, oh, like you attach these like pieces or whatever, and then it like accelerates the speed of your marble, and then it's just like oh, by the way, the world's gonna fucking end because there's like a demon overlord coming or something. And it's just like, you gotta shoot your marbles at the other guy, and like it made no sense to me, but I loved it as a kid. A lot of anime
plots like that make no sense. Like, what is the purpose of going through these obstacles to like even with Pokemon too, man, like a lot of scenes, like, to me, like, they make a lot of sense in like in Pokemon storyline, but some scenes just like why the fuck are they doing this right now? It's just like, what is the purpose of all of this?
Like, and then it's like one episode they're like, oh yeah, by the way, like, we're just gonna defeat this fucking giant evil guy that's about to take over the world, and it's like, oh, next episode it's just like, oh yeah, by the way, it's gonna be a fucking Pokemon
just
daycare
a fun
episode.
Day. We're gonna we're gonna go hunting for Magikarps. You know? Some shit like that. It's like, okay.
And it's just like, I still loved it as a kid, and like
it holds up. Honestly, like, watching it back now, there's a lot of scenes that are like kind of deemed as cute or whatever, or niche or like nostalgic. So like I definitely see like the appeal of it still, and like
especially like OG Pokemon. You know what I mean? I haven't really seen like the new. No,
I don't watch any of the new shit.
Up until I think it was like, I kept watching up until like Diamond and Pearl or whatever the anime was. With Paul, that guy was a jackass. But yeah, so like I watched like a lot of Pokemon growing up. And yeah, but like over the last 5 years, it started to really I started to really get into it, and I read comic books as a kid.
Yeah. Okay.
And I always read like the Pokemon manga.
Yeah.
It was its own like kind of like story and all that.
I remember, the library used to have it, like the public library. I used to always get it from
So
there.
I really got into that. But yeah, over the last few years, I've been reading a lot of like manga and like exploring different like anime and stuff like that, and like comic books and fucking. I don't know, man. Like I love it a lot now. Like I fucking My Hero Academia. Do you know that anime?
I've never really got into it, but like I know of it. Yeah.
I fucking it's kind of like cheesy, and it's kind of like it's really popular right now.
Yeah, I heard you were a mark for it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and like anyways, I kind of got pissed off where they left like the last season. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna read the manga, and I read like the whole 100 and whatever chapters were to catch up. And actually, a new one just came out yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah.
And bro, I don't want to get into spoil. I don't think anyone's gonna care, but like I don't know if you're ever gonna read it. But anyways, to keep it spoiler free, some wild shit's happening, and they brought back one of my favorite characters who I thought was gonna be gone for a while. And he kicks total ass, and I'm just like, damn, it was a total surprise. But they fucking left it. It was the last panel they fucking show him, and so it's like teasing me for next week. And I'm like, bro, can it be next week already? Because I'm like, I want to know what the fuck he's about to do, man. He's about to pop off with some shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, fucking.
Do you remember like watching like Cartoon Network like really late at night, and then they would show like anime and shit like that?
Yeah.
That was like my first taste of anime. That was like when I like really like got into like real anime, because like I didn't really like know Dragon Ball Z was anime when I was growing up. It was just like a show I watched.
Same with like Pokemon and all that.
Yeah, even Pokemon. Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, like even Yu-Gi-Oh too. Like I didn't consider that anime.
I just thought it was a TV show made for kids.
Straight up. And like you kind of see similarities with how things are animated. And like, bro, there's even like shows that like I remember there's a show my sister used to watch when we were growing up. I can't remember what it was called, but there's like these three girls. One was wearing like green, one was wearing like yellow.
Totally Spies.
Like that was like literally like animated like an anime. Yeah. And like it wasn't an anime. Well, like I wouldn't consider it an anime, but then it probably is, you know? There's probably like a fucking...
Yeah, people get really purist about that too. They're like, it's made in North America, it's not an anime. But like they totally go for that style. And I think they had another show where it was like in space. Made by like the same people, because it was like the same style. I can't remember what it was.
That style was like weird though, seeing that with Canadian shows. Like that was like really weird growing up, because again, like we like low-key, like I think the reason why everybody likes anime is like we kind of all grew up on it in some way, shape, or form. Like just seeing that like style of animation when we were growing up, because it was like just prevalent in like a lot of shows.
100%. Yeah, definitely. Like it was definitely a lot more into our culture, I think. Growing up as kids, because like you said, they had like the reruns late at night, and then like YTV played it, and like just even like other shows trying to copy like a similar style, just because maybe it's because like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon did kind of blow up over here, so they're like, oh, maybe we need to make a show that like
good point
similar. I have no idea. Maybe they were in production at the same time, and people just really like that art style or whatever you have it. But I definitely think that like it was a lot. It's a lot more mainstream now because of earlier childhood work. You know what I mean? Where these networks did play these shows, and like you said, like the whole staying up late type of thing. I remember, that was the first time I ever saw like fuck, what is it, like the Gundam and stuff like that, like and
bro, fucking
like Samurai Champloo
show?
Too, like
with the pirate.
One Piece.
Yeah. That was like the first time I ever saw One Piece and shit back then.
One Piece is a whole fucking thing too. Whew. One Piece has like over 1,000 episodes.
I know, it's so deep. Like I remember like what, like back then, like to like when we were kids, like we didn't know like which episodes were in chronological order, right? So like I would always watch shit out of order, and I never knew what was going on. I was just like, I like got really familiar with the characters, but like now it's so sick that you can like go on streaming services and like just watch all these episodes in chronological order and like really put the pieces back together, because it's like it's wild unlocking. Like, I don't know if you like do this with like old animes that like you might have seen when you're growing up, but like seeing a scene you've seen before is like the craziest deja vu feeling, like with an anime, and it's just like, what the fuck, like it's just so weird. Like
100%.
I definitely get that with like Yu-Gi-Oh a lot and shit like that, and like definitely with like One Piece and like that kind of shit too.
Yeah, because you totally forget. You're like, oh shit, like, especially when you didn't like watch it in chronological order, or even if it wasn't like your most like favorite show or whatever. But if you were just watching it for that, that time period, and then you like see it later, you're like, oh shit, I remember. Yeah, this guy gets his ass kicked, or like, this happens. They find the fucking whatever they need for the episode, and it's definitely like one of those things where it's just like, I am very glad that we can watch it like in order now, because like I definitely did miss out on like a few episodes here and there with like things like Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. But I was pretty religious with like that and Pokemon watching that.
Yu-Gi-Oh was the one I got into. Pokemon was like more of like I remember it was like harder for me to watch for some reason. I think my sister like watched the show at the same time that it came on, so it was like more difficult for me to like get into that. Dude,
I hated that. Like when you like,
there's
like a block of TV, like there's 3 shows you wanted to watch in a row, but that's an hour and a half, and it's like when you have a sibling and they're just like, nope, you guys got to take turns. So like I'd go from watching like an episode of like fucking Fairly Odd Parents or like SpongeBob to my sister wanting to watch like Teletubbies or some shit, or Dora the Explorer, and they're like, fuck man. I'm like, why do I gotta share? Why does she get her shit? I'm the oldest. Like, let me watch 2 hours of TV and
To be fair, like, my sister got me into so many shows I probably would have never got into as like a boy growing up. Like she got me into Hannah Montana and like all this kind of shit, and like I was super into those shows, bro. Like I'm not even gonna front, like like I knew storylines, I knew like the arcs, shit, all that kind of shit. So all it was like
OG Disney shows.
Yeah, all those shows were like for some, like obviously they have like a lot of like dark like fucked up like things behind them, but like for the most part they were like really just like funny like family humor, and like it was like really easy to get into as a kid, like just like mindlessly throw on.
My girlfriend and I were actually talking the other day about how like I think Dylan and Cole Sprouse are like the most normal Disney kids ever, because like post Disney, like they're doing good. Like Cole's still acting, and like Dylan's got his own like gaming company, and
really?
They're very like, they still have a like social media presence, but like there's never been like, I don't think like any huge scandals with them. And like that's the one thing like we were talking about, is how like Disney stars have like a lot of like negative news come out about them and like scandals, versus like other networks. I don't know if they had as much, like I don't think Nickelodeon had as much like trouble with some of their stars post. Maybe I'm wrong.
There's that whole Dan Schneider shit. Like,
we talked about that too. That was that whole like, he had a thing with like feet.
Me and you talked. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I forgot. Fucking so like that dude's fucked. You know, that dude's like out the wazoo, fucking pervert. Yeah,
100%. Like that guy, get him off shows. But I'm talking like in general, like the individual stars. You know what I mean? Like, the only one I can think of is fucking Jamie Lynn Spears, like getting pregnant and like leaving Zoe 101. Other than that, like I can't really think of other like, I like a whole bunch of like Disney stars and all that like had a lot of like breakdowns or like issues and stuff like that. Which obviously is like indicative of like other issues on in their lives, but like I think it's just like Disney probably being like very, because they're like a very pristine company, like they have that whole Disney brand to keep up, and like I know like especially like Miley Cyrus, she kind of had that whole rebellious thing and was just like, kind of like fuck her Disney persona.
I know that like with a lot of the Disney stars versus Nickelodeon stars growing up too, like I feel like there's like there was a lot less like mainstay stars. There was like more like groups of stars with
That's
like
true.
Nickelodeon shows versus like Disney shows. It was like full it was like full on like single stars, or the whole show was like built around them.
That is very true. Like you had like iCarly and stuff like that, where it's like the group of them, and then versus That's So Raven, where like you had Corey and shit like that, and like their parents, but it was mainly focused on like Raven-Symoné's like whole character arc.
There's a whole bunch of other like characters on that show too, like that
like
don't even
friends,
get
like
the
Eddie
mention,
and shit like that.
Like fucking the one dude went crazy, Orlando.
Mhm.
Yeah, that dude went fucking. Oh my god.
Yeah, off the drugs, and like I think he also has like mental illness, so like I don't want to talk too much about it.
Oh
like,
yeah.
because
for
like
sure.
obviously like yeah he's struggling with shit, but like he definitely like because he had that whole like he wanted to be like a rapper thing.
To be fair though, listening to some of his music, he's definitely talented in that regard. Like he could definitely like make some music that has substance to it, but like
I never like listened to any of it.
yeah, he's just talking about crazy shit though when he raps. So it's like if they're like all the given opportunities to like snap and talk about like some real shit,
Yeah.
like it's like okay, whatever.
It's sad, man. But yeah, fuck, man. I don't know. Like, I guess growing up Canadian, we definitely had a lot of. Do you remember 16, the show?
Oh yeah, that was like that weirdly animated show, and it was like in the mall.
Yeah.
And like yeah, that was a sick show.
Dude, fuck. I recently on TikTok I've been seeing like a little bit of some resurgence for popularity for that show. Like people are doing like impersonations of like some of the characters or like posting like clips of like the show and all that.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that, and they had some like fucked up like adult humor like in that going on it like a few times.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember too much about it. Like I just remember some of the scenes of like just like different places they would sit and like different like I remember they were in like a music store one time and like I just remember like small shit like that. But that was like one of those shows that my sister like definitely was super into.
Yeah. Fucking the main like one of the guys, Jude or whatever, he was like the lazy stoner and worked at like the like every job.
That was like the blonde dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking and then the only other one I remember is Nikki, which is I'm pretty sure
Oh yeah.
she's the ginger, right? Or is she the goth?
I thought she was a goth one.
Maybe she's the goth.
Yeah, Nikki was sweet, low key.
Yeah, her and the ginger. I think my girlfriend's a ginger, so I already got a thing for gingers. But that and like Kim Possible and fucking the like you were saying, Totally Spies and all that, bro.
Oh, yeah.
That definitely affected my childhood.
Oh yeah, you
fucking,
like the ginger girls?
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, I see.
The fucking.
That's jokes.
Oh my god. Was that a little too much? I don't know.
Dude, you broke it down.
I broke it down, man. That's getting introspective with Phil. All right, I think we've run our episode out now. I think we gotta wrap this up here, man. We'll leave you with that. We'll do a couple of reviews here. What have you been into lately? What are you reviewing?
I started playing Battlefield 4's campaign the other day.
Ooh.
And like I've never really like I've owned Battlefield 4 only for like online and like that kind of shit. So like I never really like gotten into the campaign. But like just playing it, I'm like it reminds me of how like sick the gameplay is with the environment and like all that kind of shit, like how you throw a grenade and like if there's like a cover, it'll like blow the cover up too, and like it's just like sick, like you know, especially after playing Call of Duty for all these years, like Call of Duty gameplay is very frustrating and like it doesn't make sense and like a lot of that shit, and like this gameplay makes sense, so it's like
nice.
You can position yourself in like good spots and all that. So I've definitely been checking that out and definitely would recommend it.
I know Battlefield, yeah, it's one of those things where people play Call of Duty to like gun rush, and Battlefield for like strategy and type of things.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's definitely more strategy based.
I remember playing Battlefield 3. I loved that shit. That was some good multiplayer. That's good. I haven't played 4, but I'll probably get around to it eventually. I know that like that and 5 and like what was the recent one they did?
I don't know what the recent
5. Oh,
I only
what am I thinking? I don't know.
Up until 5.
But yeah, I don't know. They're definitely acclaimed. I definitely love the old like Bad Company 2 is my favorite one.
Okay.
I played the shit out of the multiplayer for that and the story. That was some fucked up. Yeah, I love that. My review for the week is gonna be I watched The Big Short the other day. Do you know this movie?
The Big Short. What's it about?
All right, so it's about the like 2007 2008 housing bubble.
Okay.
And how it caused like the economy to collapse.
Okay.
Do you like?
I don't.
We were both young for that, but like I remembered a little bit.
Oh nah, like I definitely remember like the post recession, but I don't remember like
the actual. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember the actual events.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's good because this movie puts it in like very plain terms.
Really?
So it has Christian Bale, it has Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt. And fucking a few other like Marissa Tomei come in and shit. And there are these big players in this game. Not really Marissa Tomei. She's kind of there as like a side character. But Oh, and fucking Steve Carell. How could I forget that guy? He plays one of the main guys in there, and he's fucking great in this. They're all great. But so they put these banking terms in like really simple terms, and it tells you about how these people shorted the housing market. And they use these terms, like these big terms, and they bring in actually like celebrity guests. Like there's Anthony Bourdain, there's like Selena Gomez, there's fucking who else comes in?
Is this like an older movie?
Yeah, it's from like 2015. Like
okay. I was gonna say I thought Anthony Bourdain passed away. No.
Yeah. What? Yeah. I
think recently though. I was gonna say that'd be crazy.
I'm not too sure.
Be like a posthumous or posthumous. I can never say that word.
Posthumous.
Posthumous. Yeah. Release.
Yeah, and then it's got like Margot Robbie. Anyways, they bring these guys in and they try and break down these banking terms by like, you know, Anthony Bourdain. He's like, I didn't use all my fish today. He's like, am I gonna like just throw it away and lose profit? He's like, no, I'm gonna make a fucking soup out of it, right? Yeah. And like, and they correlate those to like how, you know, these banks fucking move this money and bought these like stocks and shit. And so like, they provide a little bit of like humor for the show while also like, or the movie, while also like bringing in these like celebrity guest stars that like, you know, it breaks it down a little bit. So it was really cool. But the whole fucking movie just is like designed to make you mad, especially like I'd assume like older Americans and stuff like that, because they were like the ones affected by it. But basically the whole movie is like these few people get like info about the housing market and how basically banks are paying for rating companies to rate so they bundle houses together. They sell like shitty mortgages to people, and then they get other companies to value them as what's called like AAA, which is like the highest, you know, whatever, and then they bundle all of these mortgages together and like into like what they call like CPOs, and like I said, the whole movie like kind of breaks it down. And like I'm not saying I understand it 100%, but you get enough from the movie, right? And basically what these people are doing is like some of these people had what are called ninja loans, which is like no income, no job, like approval for the, you know what I mean? So some of these people are like, they go to the strip club in Miami or whatever, and this girl, she has like 5 houses, and she has like 2 loans on each of her houses, and they're like, oh, like, what did you put down for your job? Like, did you say you're a stripper and you don't make that much? And she's like, no, I like whatever I wanted, or like they could leave it blank or whatever. Yeah. And they were still approved for like these mortgages, and on subprime loans. So which means like at one point, like they could be paying, you know, 10% on these loans, and then something can happen, and then suddenly they're paying 200%. They jacked it way up. Yeah, like it's doubled. And then these people can't make their payments because fucking, well, how are you supposed to literally double your income if you're on the same income? And it really hits home too, especially when, like I said, they're in Miami and they go to this like area where all these houses are like being developed, and it's like a ghost town. People just like abandon their shit, bro, because like they couldn't afford it. And they knock on this one door. This guy, he's just like, oh, like, is a blah 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 here? And he's like, you mean my landlord's dog? And he's just like, your landlord took out a mortgage on his dog's name? And he's just like, bro, he's like, am I gonna lose my house? He's like, I've been paying my rent. He's like, I got kids. And he's just like, the guy that's like trying to get this information, he's like, bro, you should talk to your landlord. And like he kind of like leaves, and he's just like, holy shit. He's just like, out of the 100 houses here, he's like, there's 5 fucking people living here, right? He's like, half of these places are abandoned. Oh my god. And like, and yeah, so it really goes into about how fucking that's fucked. Yeah, all these people like basically were having fucking like no jobs, no money, no fucking, and like all these people they were being preyed upon, especially it goes into a little bit about these 2 guys, and they're selling homes to immigrants, and they're like, you guys are pieces of shit. You guys are preying on people who have the dream of owning a home in America, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they really go into it about how fucked up this whole situation was, and like how so many people played parts in doing illegal activities, and how these guys who bet against it, they put like a lot of money into it to short the market, and basically the banks kept lying and saying like, oh, even though the fucking the amount of people who are going homeless and like defaulting on their mortgages, like they're still valued at like a high. They were even going up, and they're like, people are losing their homes and like defaulting on their payments. Like these prices should be going down, but they were like lying and setting it up and shit. And so at the end of the movie, it kind of like it goes through it and like, and then Ryan Gosling goes like, oh, we made our money and all that. And then he's just like, oh, after this though, all these, bankers and like all these people were like locked up and like thrown in jail. And he's like, nope, that actually didn't happen. He's like, what happened was the banks got bailouts and like only one other person went to jail for that because he didn't have good enough lawyers or whatever. Right.
Oh, shit.
And it really just hammers home about how fucked up this whole situation was, and it's based on like some real people who actually did some of this stuff. And it goes on to say about like a lot of these guys some of these guys stayed in the game, some of these guys like left the game because like they realized how fucked up the banks and like the economy were at that point, and how fucking people took advantage of these people, and how like as bankers, like some of them can like handle it, some people were like go back into the market. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely like I recommend, dude. It's a great fucking movie. Like they speak on these big fucking terms, but they put it in like a simple way people can understand it, and like understand how mad people were and should be. And like
because like they're dealing with other people's like the consequences of other people's actions, so they didn't bring anything on to,
for sure,
have that.
But that's going to be it for us this week. Thank you for listening to this episode. Make sure to check out our socials. Make sure to, like I said, if you're enjoying the show, please write a review. And we'll see you next week.
5-star.
Yeah.
Yeah. See you guys next week.